Okay. So we're going to start in constructive rest. So take your cushion and pop it under your knees and then lie down onto your backs. Oh, I think I've gone into a silhouette, but never mind. Okay, so normally I teach just to have the hands by your sides, but actually this morning what I did was this. So I held onto each of my elbows, and then it just releases the fascia in the front of your chest as well, which is really quite nice. So if this is too much on your chest or your shoulders, then you can also do cactus arms. So that would be like out to the side at 90 degrees and stay in that position there. So just as we're here and getting settled into this position, then start to take some nice deep breaths. So if you know your Ujjayi breath, you can engage that now, but just gently, not like when we practice vinyasa. So just a slight constriction on the throat. Nice and gentle Ujjayi breathing. So slowing your breath down so that we take an inhale for 4 counts and an exhale for 4 counts. So today, just really try and focus on your breath. So every time your mind wanders off, bring it back to your breath and just notice if you're breathing nice and evenly. So it's quite common to breathe in, but then have a longer exhale. So try and breathe nice and equal for your inhale and your exhale. And just try to relax through your arms and your shoulders and through the whole of your body. And you might just notice where you're holding some tension. Just try and let that go. Okay, so gently now, just bring your arms down by your sides. So let's just give the arms just a couple of moments to recover from being above the head if that's where you had them. And then let's gently bring ourselves up to seated. So our next position is butterfly. So we take the soles of the feet together and don't bring them too close to your body so that you've got a nice diamond shaped in your legs. And then take an inhale. And then exhale, you can fold yourself forward. So you can use your cushion for resting your head on, or your block, or your rolled up towel, whatever you have access to. And then you'll find, just as you stay here, your body will start to sink, and then you could maybe take your cushion to the lower setting, or your block to the lower one. So if you don't have anything to rest your head on, what I sometimes do is put my arms onto my legs and then just rest my head onto my forearms. So the target area for this pose is your inner and outer thigh, hip. And then if your forward fold is quite a lot, then your back also. So just keeping your breath nice and deep, nice and even, and nice and smooth. So there's nowhere to be, nowhere to go. Just relax here for 1 hour. So slowly now, start to bring yourself up. And take your hands just behind. And then you can windscreen wipe your legs. Okay, and then bring yourself onto your hands and your knees. Okay, so then drop your back down, lift your chest up, lift your gaze. And then exhale, take the back up nice and high, chin to chest, tailbone down. Inhale, drop the back down, head comes up, chest is lifted. And then exhale, take the back up nice and high. Okay, and then bring yourself now down onto your stomach. We're just going to disco started in the background, so we might have some music playing, but hopefully that'll stop in just a moment. All right, so bring yourself up onto your forearms for Sphinx pose. So we're just going to stay here for a couple of minutes first before we have the option to take it a little bit deeper. So just remember, from here you can take the feet a little bit wider or keep them in line. So a little bit wider, we'll just take it a little bit deeper into your lower back. So just make sure in this position that you don't end up sitting into your shoulders. So don't let your shoulders come up around your ears. And actually what's really nice is if you've got your cushion or your rolled up towel, you can bring it and push it under your ribs, and it just takes a bit of pressure out of the shoulders. So it leaves them nice and loose. So you're still in your hyperextension, but shoulders are nice and loose. So just check in with your bum and just notice if it's engaged, and just try to switch off the muscles in your bum cheek. For sure, when we take it a little bit deeper, your bum is going to engage. So we can just focus on relaxing through the bum cheeks. Okay, so we can take the pose a little bit deeper now by turning the hands just out to the side slightly, and then extending through the arms for seal pose. So you'll notice that your bum will have engaged, so you can just relax through the bum cheeks. And by all means, this is an option, so if you need to stay on your forearms or even come down to your stomach, then do so. And if you wanted to stay on your hands but wanted a little bit less intense, then you can take your hands forward. If you want to take it a little bit deeper, then bring your hands a little bit closer to you. But again, just make sure that we don't end up sitting into the shoulders with our neck. So check your glutes and just make sure that they haven't engaged. Okay, and so when you're ready, bring yourself down onto your forearms, remove the cushion from under your body, and then bring yourself into Makrasana. So take one arm on top of the other, and then rest your forehead onto your back of your hands. Okay, so from here, take your arms out to the side so that you're in a T shape. So you can bring your feet together and arms go out to the side, 90 degrees from your body. So I'm going to roll over both ways, but you guys roll over onto your right. I'm going to roll to my right first so that you can see my right arm, and then I'll roll over to my left so you can see my legs. Okay, so let's roll over to your right, and then just bend the legs slightly. Now you'll see my arm here stays at 90 degrees from my body. So try to keep it in this position rather than it sliding down to a different angle. Of course, if you experience tingling in your fingers, then move your arm up or down slightly, just to make sure that we're not compressing a nerve. So I'm just going to switch sides so I can talk to you and you can see my legs. So my left arm here, or your left arm, can just relax wherever you want it to. And we'll stay here just for the first minute or so, and then we'll take it a little bit deeper. I like to give these different options and go nice and slowly into the pose. So just check in with the arm that's at the back and just make sure it's nice and relaxed, and make sure that your palm is facing downwards. If you'd like to go a little bit deeper, you can straighten your legs and then roll towards your back and bend your top leg and place your foot behind your straight leg. So your top leg is bent, foot to the mat behind your straight leg. And you'll notice that as you roll more towards your back, it will put a little bit of extra pressure on the front of that shoulder. Now, if you're really quite flexible in the shoulders, then you might want to take the top arm around the back and just rest it around the back. Again, just to encourage the roll towards your back a little bit more, to give a little bit more pressure to that shoulder. Okay, so this is the final part of the pose. You can choose whichever place that you want to be. Whether you stay in the initial or just the leg, or the leg and the arm. So just again, check in with the arm that's underneath you and just check in that it's nice and relaxed. So make sure we're not pressing it into the mat. And just notice the sensations in your body. So try to have more awareness about your body. So feel the sensations. And just notice how it feels. Again, just checking in with the breath. And just making sure you've still got your nice equal breathing, long inhales, long exhales. And try to use the whole of your lung capacity. So don't just breathe into your chest, breathe into your sides, breathe into your back. Okay, and then gently roll onto your front. And then bring your arms again into Makrasana. So second one arm on top of the other, and just relaxing your head onto your arms. Okay, so you guys can just stay there. I'm just going to switch sides so I can continue to talk to you. So again, taking the arms out into the T shape. And then this time rolling onto your left side. So then just bending the legs to start with. And we just stay here for 1 minute just to get the shoulder used to the position. And your top arm here can just relax nicely wherever it's comfortable. Okay, so if you'd like to take it deeper, straighten your legs and then bend the top leg so the foot comes to the ground behind the bottom leg. And then again, if your shoulder is quite open, you might want to take the top arm and just wrap it around your back. So you'll just find that it takes a little bit of pressure to make you roll backwards, making it a little bit more intense on that front shoulder. So again, just notice the sensations in your body. So does this side feel stiffer than the other side, or does it feel easier than the other side? And quite often this can depend on the side that you sleep. So if you were to sleep on your right side, then your right shoulder would probably come forward a little bit. So taking it back in this direction, you might feel it feels a little bit more tight than the other side. So we're just going to stay here for another minute or so. So keeping your breath nice and even, nice and deep. Keep this focus for today. Your nice, deep, slow breaths will reduce the stress in your body. Okay, so gently now start to roll towards your stomach. And then again, we will bring in the arms and then just rest your head upon your arms. Okay, so place your hands by your shoulders and lift yourself up into a tabletop. So I'm just going to switch positions again. You guys can stay where you are. Okay, so coming into your tabletop position here, and we're going to come into melting heart. So have your knees so they're hip distance apart. Keep your bum high and reach your arms forward and your chest comes down towards the ground. So you have some options here. If that's a little bit uncomfortable for you, you can always use a cushion underneath your chest, and that would just take a little bit of the pressure off. You have some options for your head. So you can either place your forehead to the ground or your chin. Personally, I don't like chin because I think it's a little bit of a bit harsh on the neck. So what I tend to do is I'll put my left ear to the ground for 10 breaths, and then my right ear to the ground for 10 breaths. So the bum stays nice and high, and if you experience any tingling in the fingers, then you can just change the angle of your arms a little bit, or do one arm at a time. So your target area here is into the front of your shoulders and your chest, but also you've got quite a hyperextension on your back. So even though we're like leaning forward, if you see my back, you'll see that it's in a slight back bend. So bringing yourself up now, so you come back into your hands and knees, tabletop, and then we'll do some cat-cows. So drop the back down, lift the chest, and then take the back up nice and high, hook right into the shoulders. You may feel this in the back of your shoulders. And then inhale, drop the back down, head comes up, chest is lifted. Exhale, take the back up nice and high, chin to chest, tailbone down. Inhale, drop the back down, head comes up, chest comes up. And then exhale, take the back up nice and high. Okay, so our next pose is going to be swan pose. So tuck your toes under, get your cushion ready, or your towel or your block on the right side of your body. And then bring yourself into a downward facing dog. Okay, so from here, we bring the right knee towards the right wrist and the right foot towards the left wrist. And then shuffle your back leg back as far as it will go. So the aim here is to keep the hips nice and square. So take your cushion and pop it under either your bum or your thigh. And then once you're here, you can bring yourself down to either your forearms, or if you want to go completely flat, you can extend your arms all the way. So it all depends on how open your hips are. It might be a little bit too much to come all the way down if your hips are a little bit tight. But just check in with your body and just make sure that your hips are nice and square. And if coming down to your forearms is too much, you could use another block or something under your forearms here, or stay up in your position here. Also, the more open your hips are, the closer your foot would be to your left hand. So you can see here that mine is a little bit of a distance away. So if I was more open in the hips, I could bring my foot to more parallel with the top of the mat. But you'll notice that then my hips then go skew if. Right, so just come into whichever position feels good for you. So just imagine your hips, your glutes warming up. Imagine them, the muscles getting very warm. And the warmer they get, the more relaxed they are. So your right hip really starts to sink onto your support. Imagine your muscles just melting down onto your cushion. So just a few more seconds here. It gets to a point where, just at the point where you feel that you want to come out of the pose is the bit where it starts to really do some good. So just see a little bit of discomfort, just see if you can breathe through it. Obviously pain is different to discomfort. Okay, so let's bring ourselves up now onto our hands. And then we want to tuck the back toe under. So tuck the back toe under and just get yourself some height to come to your knees. So then once you're here on your knees, take your foot out to the back. So the same leg that was forward, your right leg, put your right leg now out to the back and just tap the toes onto the mat so they're just resting on the mat. And you might feel a little bit of heat come to the hip flexors and into the bum. And then bring yourself to both of your knees And let's go round in nice big circles. And then let's go the other way. Okay, so we do the other side. So put your cushion to the left side and take yourself into downward facing dog. Again, no pressure to make this a great downward facing dog, just to get into our position. So left knee comes to left wrist, left foot comes to right wrist. And then shuffle your right leg back as far as it will go. And then use your cushion under your bum to keep your hips nice and square. Okay, so once you've got yourself into position, you can bring yourself down onto your forearms, or you can bring your body completely flat, depending on how it feels for you and which is the best position. Just try to relax through your back leg and into your left hip now. So just notice the initial sensations. Maybe it feels a little bit tough, or maybe it feels easy. Notice where the sensations are, and then this might just change as we stay in this position a little bit longer. So just check in with your breath again and just keep that breathing so it's nice and equal. Count to 4 for your inhale, count to 4 for your exhale. If you're listening to some music, maybe it's got a beat that you can use. And that 4 can be as quick or as slow as you want. But we want to be taking quite deep breaths. Just notice the sensations now, if they changed, if they moved, if they got stronger. Okay, so gently now start to bring yourself back to your hands and then tuck your back toe under and get yourself a little bit of height just to come to your knees. And then once you're there, take your left toes out to the back and just have them on the mat. So again, you may feel a little bit of heat into your bum cheek of your left side. It's just the energy return into that area. Okay, so place the knees down now, and then let's do big circles with the hips. And then once you've done 4 in one direction, let's do 4 in the other. Okay, so I'm just going to move a little bit further away. It might not be so good to see all the way down on this one. So we're going to come into frog. So take your knees out on the mat as far as they'll go. Now, if you've got sore knees, you can always roll the edge of your mat in to give you double protection, or you could put a towel or something under your knees. So we won't spend too long here. All right, so if you can, turn your toes outwards. And then if this feels okay, then bring yourself down to your forearms. And then finally, if it feels okay, then you could extend your arms all the way forward and bring your chest down towards the ground. And then again, you can put your ear to one side and your ear to the other side. So when you're in this position, just make sure that your hips don't fall forward. Okay, so I'm just going to try and demonstrate here at the side. So whilst we're here, you'll see that the knees and the hips are in line. So what we want to make sure is that we don't end up coming into this position here. Okay, so we want to try and make sure that the hip and the knee stays in the same line. So again, coming down to your forearms or your chest, you can always use a cushion under your forearms. And as I'm sure you can feel, the target area is your inner thigh. If your knees are really quite painful on this one, you can always do happy baby. So you could lie on your back and come into happy baby pose. That is an alternative to the frog. It's not quite the same, but it's a similar kind of pose. So just remembering, if you are onto one side of your head, then do 5 to 10 breaths and then change to the other side of your head. So we don't keep the neck in the same position for the whole time that we're in the pose. We're just going to do another 30 seconds. So see how you go. Not long left. Okay, so slowly now start to come to your forearms and then come up to your hands. Okay, so I can only say push your feet into the ground a little bit and try and slide your knees together. Okay, and then when you've managed to bring yourself up a little bit, bring yourself into a tabletop, and then let's just, first of all, take your bum side to side, so hips go side to side. So the target area there, as I'm sure you felt, was the inner thigh, so the groin, the inner thigh. And then again, we can roll around nice big circles. We'll just do 3 this time. And then take it in the other direction for 3 again. Okay, and then our last but one pose, we're going to come onto our backs. So just make sure you've got your cushion close to hand and lie yourself down onto your back. All right, then take your cushion, bend your legs, and pop the cushion underneath your sacrum. So the very bottom of your back and the very top of your bum. So there's a little diamond-shaped bone here, and that's where you want, it's like the little plate at the bottom of your spine. So that's where we want to be for this position. And then once you're there and you're happy you're in the right place, we don't want it into the lower back, okay? So just make sure it's on the sacrum. And then you can extend your legs down the mat. So you've got the different levels that you can use your block. If you've got a yoga block, just be careful if you're using it up on its end. It's a little bit thin. So then if you would like to have a little bit of a deeper stretch on the front of your body, you could take your arms all the way up over the top of your head, or do the cactus at the side, or hold onto your elbows above your head. If this becomes too much for your lower back, then you can bend your legs just to take a little bit of the pressure off. So it's actually stretching out the front of your body, but it's compressing your spine a little bit. So you're more likely to feel it in your back than in your front, but see how it goes. Now that my back has become a little bit more flexible in a hyperextension, I can actually feel it more into my hip flexors and my psoas. So that's good for me. This is the target area that we want. We have a volleyball team that come to play, and I didn't realise that their noise would travel quite so much. Okay, so gently now bend into the legs and lift your body up to remove your cushion. And then come all the way down to the mat. And just stay here for a moment, just whilst your back gets used to coming out of the hyperextension. And then bring the knees into the chest, and you can have a little roll around on your spine just to massage your back. Okay, so then we come to Shavasana. So take your legs all the way down the mat. You can put the cushion under your knees. If you need to take a little bit of pressure off your back, then put the cushion under your knees. Otherwise, feet come down towards the end of the mat, towards the corners, palms face upwards, and relax here in Shavasana for 5 minutes or so. So now just start to bring the awareness back to your body on the mat. Start to have a little bit of movement through the fingers and the toes. And then take a nice big inhale, take the arms all the way up over the top of your head. Bend the legs, place the feet by the sit bones. And then roll to your left side, using your left arm as a pillow. When you're ready, bring yourself up to seated, keeping your eyes closed. And then place your hands in front of your heart center. So we'll finish the class with one arm. So take a deep breath in. Slowly open your eyes. Namaste. Well done, everybody. Thank you for joining.